Good morning everybody and welcome back to VG Myths, the online internet video game TV show that files its taxes as monkey business. Donkey Kong Country is the long-awaited 13th game in the Donkey Kong series, introducing the totally new protagonist, Donkey Kong. To help him get fit for his debut, we're putting him on a strict diet, which might be tough considering he instantly consumes every banana he touches. Can you beat the Donkey Kong Country Minimum Banana Challenge? The rules are simple. We're structuring this as a low-score challenge, segmented by level. We'll try to beat every level on our overall path to beat the game while collecting as few bananas as possible, track our best attempt of each, and add together the sum of best for our final score. That means if we figure out a better strategy for an early level, we won't have to replay the entire game from that point onward. If we accidentally collect an unnecessary banana, which will absolutely happen constantly, you simply restart the level from the beginning for another try. With the rules set, let's get this run started. Whoops, did you think we were starting the video? Sorry, Donkey Kong just died. Painfully and horribly. He'll be out of commission for a minute, just long enough to sit through an advertisement. This video is sponsored by famous super sexy gamer girl GameChamp 3000. Ever desperate to find new and exciting ways to consume, she's adding a new perk to the Patreon. From now on, most if not all videos will be temporary Patreon exclusives running under a one video backlog. That means each video will generally come to YouTube after the next video goes live on Patreon. As you might suspect, that format means there's already another episode up right now. If you head over to patreon.com/GameChamp and back with as little as $1, you can watch a new 50-minute Hyrule Myths episode about the original Legend of Zelda. And of course, that's in addition to the other perks you can get at each tier, including commentated videos and shoutouts during the credits. Remember, the moment this video is done, and not a moment sooner, head to patreon.com/GameChamp and please, for the love of God, fund my Switch too. I'm really hungry. Our first world is Congo Jungle, and our first level is 1-1 Jungle Hijinxes. Here we introduce ourselves to both player characters. Diddy Kong's strength is his high speed, and for the minimum banana challenge, his smaller hitbox, allowing him to get closer to bananas without actually touching them. Donkey Kong's strength is his ability to swap to Diddy Kong. We clear with 0 bananas. 1-2 Ropey Rampage. Roll along the ground until the first rope, introducing our first roadblock. The rope leads to a set of 3 bananas extending too far to jump past. There is some space to their left we can stand on, but only barely. Platform edges are deceptively short and don't quite match the visuals. To make this jump easier, about face to land backwards. Diddy's banana collecting hitbox extends forward from his feet, so facing away from the bananas gives us more wiggle room. Further along, you'll be forced to swing on this rope leading directly into a solid diagonal wall of bananas. There's absolutely no way, no how about it, you definitively legally cannot beat Ropey Rampage without moving directly through this wall. You can at least intersect efficiently. Get an early jump off the rope and slip in the dead center to collect only 1 banana. Eventually you'll jump over this rectangle banana chunk, revealing a tire. Here you should swap to Donkey Kong. He's actually got one more ability I neglected to mention. We're forced to make another seemingly impossible jump with 3 bananas perfectly positioned along our jump trajectory. That's no problem with Donkey's secret technique, dying painfully and horribly. Getting hit at the bottom of the Zinger's arc lets us reach the next rope with the automatic damage hop, leading into an identical conundrum, now without a sacrificial Kong. We have no choice but to jump for it. In all my million billions of attempts, I've almost always grabbed 2 of these 3 bananas if I manage to successfully reach the next rope. But in a trillion billion miracle, while reattempting Ropey Rampage for unrelated reasons, I managed just 1 banana. Going frame by frame, this is impossibly improbable. Diddy's hitbox only barely scrapes by the second banana and into the hitbox of the rope. It doesn't look like this jump should have worked, but it did, clearing Ropey Rampage with 2 bananas. 1-3 Reptile Rumble. Early on is a long stretch of bananas too far to jump over. Thankfully, some friendly Kremlings recognize how serious our diet goals are and will blast us upward with their final breath. There's a seemingly difficult set of bananas past this next bouncy tire, but by hugging the ledge, you can do a standard jump under them. We then come across an incredibly, obviously impossible to circumvent crevice containing 5 bananas. Skip another tire line the same way as before to clear the level with a simple, obvious best score of 5 bananas. 1-4 Coral Capers. The open nature of swimming levels allows you to swim past almost everything except a few cramped banana tunnels. Mash the swim button while making slow, methodical taps on the D-pad to squeeze through. By the checkpoint barrel is an arrow comprised of bananas blocking the way forward. The Kongs don't seem to be able to fit without touching a banana. Thankfully, earlier on is an unguard box. Just in case you never took theoretical geometry, the total area of swordfish plus monkey is less than the area of monkey. Carefully weave through to the end and clear Coral Capers with 0 bananas. 1-5 Barrel Cannon Canyon. Jump on the level entrance into a barrel to blast above the first banana wall. Always remember that you can jump at any time if you roll off a ledge. When you reach this banana line in a barrel course, fire just to the left while holding right to curve over. You're seemingly forced to collect some bananas at the end of another course. Be bad at video games instead to enter a bonus area. Continue sucking to teleport into the main level past the bananas. Another line of bananas blocks our way at the next barrel course. It looks like we might be able to skip to either a later barrel or a zinger with rolling jumps, but it's definitely too far with a standard roll. Time to introduce roll combos. Rolling into an enemy will both extend the roll and increase your max speed, with further extensions and speed increases with each successive enemy. I experimented for a while on all the Kremlings leading up to this jump, but alas, while I could get sort of close, I could never manage a roll that got me all the way, and eventually gave up to grab 4 bananas. Adding insult to injury are 8 more definitely unavoidable bananas in the same barrel course. We're deposited at the exit to sulk away with a pathetic 12 bananas. At the end of every world, we fight a boss who we will not bother covering. As you can plainly, obviously see, there is not a single banana to be found in this or any other boss room. You can safely assume we thrashed them all and obtained their giant bananas without collecting a single banana. 2-1 Winky's Walkway. This one's difficult to pull off, but simple to explain. At the beginning is an upward slope with 6 bananas. Collecting none is absolutely impossible, but you can just barely jump over 3 at a time and thus clear the row with a single banana. When the path is blocked by this vertical line, break Necky's neck to enter a bonus area and get deposited further along. At the end is another upward slope, identically requiring 1 banana with the Kongs. Winky can be found midway through the level and could hypothetically get us past with Yoshi strats. But before he can get there, he has to go through this platform. The Kongs can fit under just fine, but Winky's hopping movement will cause him to inevitably grab some bananas. No matter what hoppy shenanigans I tried in practice, Winky simply can't get through without swallowing at least 1 banana. We abandon him and finish frog-free with 2 bananas. 2-2 Minecart Carnage. This level is gonna make you wanna jump in the nearest pit. Do so for an exceptionally easy 0 banana clear. 2-3 Bouncy Bonanza. This one is gonna suck. Shortly in, roll the tire down and bounce off it over a line of 5 bananas. Roll off this ledge to gracefully glide below this punch. You only get 1 shot for the next jump. Keep constant speed, rolling onto and bouncing off the tires to arc under the bananas. At the split path, there are explicitly forced bananas below, so push the preceding tire onto the moving platform to go above. You'll eventually fall into a no-win scenario. There's a line of bananas blocking our only path through the level. Diddy absolutely explicitly cannot jump over the entire line thanks to the low ceiling, so we're not gonna use Diddy. Bounce up to the middle edge with a reverse landing and do an extra super precise leap for the cave entrance. Your reward is Winky. Winky's jump is a bit floatier than the Kong's. Time it as late as you can get away with to sail over the entire batch. We're not completely done yet, facing a sequence of bouncy tires with bananas and arcing zingers. Take as much time as you need to line up each bounce. The final tire makes a straight leap too risky. Switch to Donkey and sacrifice him to a zinger, granting Diddy invulnerability frames long enough to bounce under and over. Casually walk to the exit for a satisfying 0 banana clear. 2-4 Stop and Go Station. This one's so tough, the moment you see it, I recommend turning around 360 degrees and walking directly into the exit for a 0 banana clear. 2-5 Millstone Mayhem features one problem moment. You're supposed to hide from the millstone in the banana-filled cubbies. If you try to damage boost, Diddy's zombie will fall into the cubby and grab bananas while running away. But for some bizarro reason, Donkey's zombie will not, running in just such a way he slides over, letting us exit with an easy 0 bananas. 3-1 Vulture Culture. Normally this level requires ultra super precise ridiculous trick plays, but if you'd rather not, you can get away with just a regular trick play. Shortly into the level is a sadistically hidden warp barrel which completely disappears if you don't speedrun to it and is only visible to Donkey. It'll drop you near the exit with no more tricks left to jump. 0 banana clear. 3-2 Treetop Tam. There's another warp barrel right at the start leading directly to the exit. 0 bananas. 3-3 Forest Frenzy. This one is filled with auto-scrolling ropes that move through banana mazes. The correct path through all these mazes is identical. Hold onto the rope at the lowest point you can get away with before slipping off. Note you'll have to be lower than seems necessary on the second rope, since there's a banana you risk jumping into. The final rope is the tightest squeeze with only ever so slightly enough room. 0 banana clear. 3-4 Temple Tempest. A seemingly impossible level with lines of bananas Diddy couldn't possibly hope to clear. The bonus areas won't skip us past any, but in one of them you can sit back and ride Espresso. Espresso has ridiculously broken speed and jump height with a mid-air flap and glide for unrivaled mobility. He can fly over the entire level with 0 bananas. 3-5 Orangutan Gang. Step slightly forward to enter a nightmare. This line of bananas is obviously too wide to jump over all at once, but unlike other banana lines, these are spaced apart enough for Diddy to slide between with incredible precision. Note that Diddy is able to fit slightly easier on the ground than while in the air. At this moment, if I were to jump, Diddy would probably hit the right banana. No worries, you've got enough space to reorient yourself closer to the center. After only 2 jumps, a brave Kremling will volunteer to rescue us. Now that you're out of the first circle of hell, walk further along into the second. This time, you'll have to do 4 jumps in a row, at which point a slightly late Kremling will sacrifice his life for your amusement. Espresso got the memo a bit late too, since there are no more problem bananas, but he likewise still serves a purpose. 0 banana clear. 3-6 Clam City. We finish the world off with a blatantly easy 0 banana clear. 4-1 Snow Barrel Blast. A line of bananas runs from a barrel to the top of a tall wall. Diddy can get extra jump height by rolling into the wall enough to clear it. Shortly after are some blast barrels featuring banana lines which are absolutely definitely no way, no how impossible to avoid, forcing us to collect 8 total. There's a similar situation further along where we can at least minimize the damage. Fire the first barrel straight up and hold right to land in the second, forcing only 6 bananas total. At the checkpoint is an impossibly high wall with a blast barrel leading into a line of bananas. This time, the blast barrel is fully capable of firing diagonally clean over the entire line. Another banana barrel won't work diagonally since we just barely clip 1 banana, but if you fire straight up and hold right, you'll land in a bonus barrel to warp past. We easily pass under the rest of the stage's bananas for a final score of 14 bananas. 4-2 Slip Slide Ride. This level's gimmicks are upslide and downslide ropes, which automatically make your Kong move up or down at max speed. The main path is ludicrously tricky with a ton of choke points and undodgeable bananas. But if you're willing to pull off a single ludicrous trick, you can get off easy. Immediately at the start is an optional upslide rope leading up to a warp barrel, but it's drenched in bananas. We can't dodge all of them, but we can dodge most. In this one specific instance, Donkey's hitboxes work better than Diddy's, so play as him. Bounce up to grab the rope at its bottom, tapping down to stall in place until the rope sways left. With ludicrous divine timing, you can slip past 2 bananas at a time, making every 3rd banana a rest stop, reaching the warp barrel with 3 total. You'll still have to do some tight jumps on more ropes, which give enough space to get by along the top. At this zinger rope is another trick. Swap to Donkey and roll off the ledge to jump into the zinger backwards, then damage boost left with Diddy. Cross to the left downslide rope and hop off its left edge over and over to ascend to the exit with a final score of 3 bananas. 4-3 Ice Age Alley. Roll jump left at the start to reach a hidden espresso. I had a really hard time getting him through this set of bananas until realizing I was doing it wrong. Espresso's hitbox is based on the position of his body. When he flaps his wings, he lowers his body and thus lowers his hitbox. A standard jump keeps him safely above the bananas so we can breeze to the exit for a 0 banana clear. 4-4 Croctopus Chase. Identical to prior water levels with an asterisk. In 2 instances, we have to enter absolutely unavoidable blast barrels leading into absolutely unavoidable bananas. Added together, they force a 15 banana clear. 4-5 Torchlight Trouble. This one's got a few precise jumps. Here, run onto the moving platform at the bottom of its arc, roll jumping to the next ledge. This jump is tight, but you're safe if you land on the oil drum's right lip. At the checkpoint is a no way, no how impossible line of 4 bananas in a tight crevice. There's a seemingly impossible jump up next, which can be cheesed. Normally, you jump too high to go under these bananas, but holding a barrel with DK shortens your minimum jump height enough to curve under. This next section is unfortunately more impossible. We'll have to run through 1 banana no matter what, but can at least leave it at that. After 1 more roll jump, we reach the exit with a score of 5 bananas. 4-6 Rope Bridge Rumble. Near the beginning is a bouncy tire with bananas directly above. It doesn't look like it, but Diddy can run straight under before the tire bounces him up. Otherwise, a note-free 0 banana clear. 5-1 Oil Drum Alley and 5-2 Trick Track Trek are both totally note-free 0 banana clears. 5-3 Elevator Antics is once again simple. The only note is you'll have to enter this bonus area above the screen to skip a banana crevice. 0 banana clear. 5-4 Poison Pond. Welcome to Potassium Hell. Just kidding, 0 banana clear. 5-5 Minecart Madness. Welcome to Potassium Hell for reals. An auto-scrolling minecart level with bunches of bananas fired directly in your face, and this time no warp barrel. We actually have to play through this one legit. Upon entering the first minecart, you'll be propelled into a necky. The dev intended way to avoid it is to jump into bananas. But there's a special strategy I'd probably never have found on my own, courtesy of the creator of a prior video on this run, Rock Ruff Ruins Games. For some bizarro reason, if you roll into the minecart as opposed to jumping into it, your hitbox will be astronomically slightly lower, just enough to slide under. The same applies to the neckies immediately after, so do not jump until the last possible second. After a few intentionally low jumps, we're forced to jump over 2 neckies directly below bananas. Diddy can jump low enough to avoid them, but if you've still got Donkey on hand, ram him into the first necky so you only have to make the singular second jump. Ahead is a cramped tire you'll have to just barely bounce on the edges of, a sweat-inducing long jump over some bananas, and the hardest point in the level, a drop into a minecart guarded by bananas, a zinger, and a Kremling who will bounce you into said zinger. Stall on the tire until the exact moment the zinger moves out of your way, fall onto the Kremling, and escape. Don't panic at the finale, jump after the bananas to exit Potassium Hell without committing a single potassium sin. 5-6 Blackout Basement. There's almost nothing to talk about here except a tiny little asterisk, one of the absolute hardest jumps in the entire game. Right after 2 clumps is a giant chasm traversed with a rope swing totally lined with bananas. The rope is obviously not an option, and obviously our only option. If you're thinking we can just roll into those 2 clumps and make the jump with the boosted roll, sorry, the gap is still way too far for that to work, without a bit more majiggering. When I explained roll boosts earlier, I left out some important information to keep things simple. Watch what happens if I tap and release the roll button versus holding it down. When I tap, there's no noticeable speed increase and the roll quickly ends. That's because the boost can only be applied if the Y button is depressed. But if the Y button is released, the boost isn't lost, it just goes into a queue. If you press the Y button before the roll ends, the boost will be applied. This effectively makes the roll last longer than usual. If you roll into multiple enemies in a single roll, the same logic applies. In this specific instance though, it's gonna suck thanks to the blinking lights forcing us to make our button presses partially blind. Tap and release the Y button to hit the first clump. Before hitting the second, tap and release to initiate the first boost and store the second. Press Y a final time right as you reach the ledge to initiate boost level 2. With perfect execution, you'll fly across the gap with more than enough speed to jump on the other side. Take your time strolling to the exit so you won't have to do it again. Manky Kong will be guarding the way with a banana minefield and rolling barrels. You have barely enough time to run and jump between each set and can damage boost once by sacrificing a Kong. With Manky defeated, you'll escape into the light with 0 bananas. Level 6-1 Tanked Up Trouble. This is an auto-scroller revolving around a constantly moving platform you have to continuously refuel. It's easy going for a while, but around the middle you'll reach an impassable wall. Rolling under isn't an option. A blast barrel awaits to launch you straight back up. I had a little bit of hope though. Just beforehand is a mid-air platform with a necky on each side. With some careful button timing, you can combo both neckies for extreme horizontal distance, enough to jump over the line of bananas, but not enough to reach the platforms on the other side. Not to mention, we'd have to roll through a banana in the first place. We go with the simple option, riding the track into 1 banana. After the checkpoint is a trail of bananas leading into a tire. You can roll off and jump under them, but the upper fuel tank is explicitly required to continue the level. In one clean motion, curve around and bounce up banana-free. The remaining jumps are self-explanatory, dropping us at the exit with 1 banana. 6-2 Manic Mincers. Roll jump over the first gap to bypass its bananas. When you find the Rambi crate, hop on. He's gonna be important. The next ledge is guarded by bananas, a moving mincer, and a Naughty who we can trick into helping us. An identical jump is up here, but this time a damage boost is easier. Rambi will bounce off the upcoming wall and return to you with plenty of time to get back on. After a few trick jumps is a thin platform moving under a wall of bananas and a mincer. This is a strict jump. Rambi can just barely make it over the top banana, then you'll have to reorient for the mincer. An absolutely impossible jump awaits. We can't go high enough and Rambi can't fit on the platform, so we take the third option and Yoshi. We're immediately punished for our sin with a similar jump, now with 2 mincers. This time there's enough space for Diddy to weave over and under the barrage with stupidly tight timing. You might have been tempted to sacrifice Donkey, but you're gonna need to mince someone just after. With no bananas left to dodge, we reach the exit with a 0 banana clear. 6-3 Misty Mine. There's just 1 fancy trick jump. All we have to do is get up this ledge. There's barely enough space for Diddy to stand on the oil barrel. For obvious reasons, standing on its left side doesn't get us anywhere. You need to roll under, jump up, and adjust in midair to land backwards. Let the army harmlessly roll past and celebrate at the exit with 0 bananas. 6-4 Loopy Lights. Good news, this one's impossibly hard with an instant conundrum. a purple claptrap who jumps when you jump while blocking the ground, and bananas which block the air. It looks impossible at first glance, but you actually can get through. Jump, creep under the bananas, bounce on the claptrap, and about face to escape. Continuing along, we find an extra stressful stretch of thin platforms, each of which features a lone banana. Roll jump under the first platform and land facing away, then land precisely on the right ledge of each preceding platform. Ascend a banana-littered cliff, take out the necky at the top, and jump straight across to the bottom. An absolutely unscalable banana wall awaits. On the way there, bounce off the first claptrap. Listen for the second claptrap to return, jump up, and it'll bite your butt, giving you the boost you need. Now for another impossible task. Thin platforms with tires on them and bananas perfectly placed to collide with them in a bounce. The trick is to not bounce. There's an extremely thin bit of solid ground on the edge of the platform, so thin standing on it isn't an option. With ludicrous precise timing, so precise I don't even bother trying to time it and just button mash, you can roll off the platform and thus safely jump to the next tire. There's a few more easy banana ledges guarded by a Mankey before we reach the exit with 0 bananas. 6-5 Platform Perils. The final traditional level in the game is a welcome break. Hop onto a moving platform below the screen and teleport through the bonus area past the first bananas. You'll need to do some more ledge hops on the moving platforms, less precise than the dozen you just did in the prior level. Then, a little over halfway through is an ultra deadly row of bananas with only a tiny margin of error between as the platform slides you to the next one. I tried to get past these for about half an hour until finally realizing I am a dumb, stupid idiot. There's nothing left we haven't already seen, so we get a final 0 banana clear. Head into the final banana-free boss fights, knock K. Rool's noggin, and finish the minimum banana run with a score of 59.
But Miss Gamer Champ, that video didn't match the title and thumbnail at all. I forgot to mention earlier because I was using the bathroom. But point is, you're a dumb, stupid, evil clickbait loser.
You're right, I absolutely am a dumb, stupid, evil clickbait loser. But not for this video, you didn't let me finish. The final score is 59 if you hypothetically take the absolutely least efficient possible route through the game. 59 is the maximum minimum bananas. We've still got one very important question to answer. Can you beat Donkey Kong Country without collecting bananas? If we're gonna be efficient about this, we're gonna need a better copy of the game. The Nintendo Switch Online version we've been playing this whole time unfortunately features several game-breaking issues, the worst of which is the fact it functions. This run is only truly possible on a broken 1.0 or 1.1 version. I have absolutely no idea which version I have, but we'll know if it functions soon. Boot up the game and beat Jungle Hijinxes with 0 bananas as normal. Ropey Rampage is hypothetically next, but remember, beating Ropey Rampage required collecting bananas. We can do better. Rather than entering Ropey Rampage, enter level 1.5 Orangutan Gang. If you live under a rock, there's no editing trickery here. On early versions of the game, if you're playing as a single Kong, there's a 1-frame window while walking over corners on the map screen where the game will accept an input to enter a level. Since there isn't actually a level there, the game does some duct tape magic to send us to a completely unintended destination, in this case near the end of the World 3 level Orangutan Gang. As we already established, you can totally beat Orangutan Gang with 0 bananas. That erases every prior level save Jungle Hijinxes from the run, correcting our final score from 59 all the way down to 38. Which, quite frankly, is pathetic. You can do better. Go back into Jungle Hijinxes, pick up this DK barrel as a lone donkey, throw it, pause while it's in midair, and press select to exit the level. We've triggered a special glitch state. The game thinks we have 2 Kongs, even though we don't. If Donkey takes damage, the game will tell Diddy to swap into place. Diddy's corpse will rudely ignore the message, leaving Donkey permanently trapped in the margin between life and death. This is useless on its own, but key to activating another glitch. Enter Ropey Rampage. Run to the first cliff, jump over the army, roll off, and jump to let the army smack you. The bottomless pit successfully murders Donkey to prevent a soft lock, and the second glitch is now active. When Donkey died, we switched to Diddy without Donkey ever successfully swapping out. If we open a DK barrel, the game will be extremely confused, giving both Donkey and Diddy simultaneous player character status. We don't actually want to do this yet, we're just prepping it for later. Now that it is prepped, head into Orangutan Gang. From this point forward, if you make a single mistake, you'll have to reset the game. Backtrack through the level, killing every enemy. Once you kill this Mankey, jump back up for the metal barrel and take it with you. This DK barrel breaks on contact. You'll have to avoid it with an ultra-precise jump which lands us into the jaws of a claptrap waiting on the other side. We can't jump on the claptrap since then we'd lose the barrel. Its cycle is based on the timing of your approach. Run toward and jump over the barrel in one clean motion, and you'll have just enough time to hop over the claptrap. Avoid the checkpoint barrel and reveal your prize, the coveted espresso. Time for a double whammy glitch latte. Hop to the trees, bounce the barrel off them, ride it, hold the Y button, jump off while intersecting with Espresso, and voila! Espresso is now holding the metal barrel. This isn't good enough, so glitch things up exponentially further by touching the checkpoint. The metal barrel is seemingly killed, but don't be fooled. Espresso is now holding a magic invisible glitch barrel. Don't let go of Y lest you throw the glitch early. And once again, don't touch the DK barrel, both because it will end the run and because it will end the universe. Bring the invisible barrel all the way to where you started and flap down the lower path from as high as you can manage without drifting above the tree line. Use the red leaves in the background to line yourself up with your destination, a landing with a banana bunch in its center. Beyond is a wall which can be broken open with a barrel leading into a bonus area. We need to enter it, but alas, the invisible barrel glitch doesn't quite work as you'd hope. I'll spare you the details since I don't even understand them, but the invisible barrel decides it isn't a barrel based on the objects that are loading into RAM. Things need to load in exactly the right way for the glitch barrel to legally be considered a barrel and allow us to successfully open the bonus area. Which is a problem. This is an any percent guide by Reflected from which I learned the glitch. Their setup is to keep as low as possible on approach, which involves running through a banana minefield. That setup isn't gonna work in our run. We'll have to come up with a new one. From the landing, head right and try to flap up the cliff wall like an idiot. About face and return to the left side of the landing. Jump into the minefield, flap at the last possible moment, and retreat. You'll hopefully just barely survive. Flap low on your return, and if the duct tape wills it, you'll break through. Important note, the specific location you hit the wall from matters. I won't get into all the specifics, but for our purposes, you'll need to release Y slightly before hitting the wall. Now for the easy part. Reveal and grab a DK barrel and stand in this highly specific spot while facing left. I like to use the amount of visible background leaf to know if I'm positioned right. Release and repress Y, hold right, and bam! Donkey and Diddy as simultaneous player characters exit the bonus area simultaneously. With our glitch latte guzzled down to the last drop, we arrive at level 6-2, Manic Mincers. While this level was incredibly hard before, we just entered it with Espresso. Cheese over Manic Mincers to officially beat it with 0 bananas. That means we just cut every single World 2, 3, 4, and 5 level from the run as well as 6-1. And if you were paying attention, 6-3 we cleared in 0 bananas, 6-4 in 0 bananas, 6-5 in 0 bananas, and the 2 final boss battles in 0 bananas. With King K. Rool dethroned and Donkey Kong developing Having a potassium deficiency, the Donkey Kong Country Zero Banana Run is officially mission complete. Before heading out, once again a special shout out to Rock Rough Ruins Games, whose original video on the run is both excellent and whose strategies helped me shave off a few bananas. An additional shout out to Reflected's Any% Noob tutorial, which helped tremendously in pulling off the glitch latte, as well as the Donkey Kong Country Speedruns wiki for general information all over the place. And just a reminder in case you forgot, if you head to patreon.com/GameChamp, you can watch the next episode right now. Special thanks to all Patreon backers, including Salty Sweet, Les Lamb, Alex Nelson. Can you say hi to Crustacean Creep for me? Sure, hi Crustacean Creep. Crustacean Creep says Gwen is great. Evil Game Champ is like Bad Evening Nobody and Unwelcome Forward to WH Facts, the offline on-paper board game movie. Natalie Kalita, George. Britface says, you think changing the vocal tier can stop my love and support? Arcombs, now I only want to triumph. Plesiosaurs may have given live birth to well-developed babies and were attentive parents who lived in pods. Attempted wholesomeness. Literal cat mint leaf-winged catgirl is gay and doesn't go to bed on time. Reblog if you too are gay and or don't go to bed on time. Robjection wishes everyone the best of luck with their real-life 2025 damageless run. Trish Chandler, F. Amadon, Darknit, frequently a doofus, occasionally an idiot, always a fool. Brisky, Ian Beck, Biohazard, oh hey that's me. Fluff System, Chris Koosland, Arsonist Cat, Sorio99, Cody Merchant, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights. Touchtone Banana Phone, Landfair Pawulganiel, Gogari, Chunchwurns, Rob, William, Cilio, Gogogoch. Kaiser says please don't forget to look after your physical, mental, and emotional health while gaming, speedrunning, and challenge. Everyone's favorite clan Ghost Bear McWarrior, Aurelia. Fella, Ken of Red Lions, Morgan Duna Nix, Getsugaru, Love Story Gaming, TTV, Frilly Lily, Celica, Teheka, Kelzo, Flame Solus, Macaroni Cat personally endorses running away like a little sissy baby, Autistic Yu-Gi-Oh, Neo Sandman 4040, Jink Shadow. Random Internet Cat is a random cat on the internet and should not under any circumstances be trusted to do non-cat things. Kimberly, the Gamer Bee, reminds you to hydrate right this minute, young ma'am. Daybreak, the Auroran Goddess, and overambitious dumbass. Gaming Medic, Zeta is pretty invalid. Joshua Bennett, Nicole the Gamer Girl and Gamer Girl, Mind Planet 84, Tourbit, Bruna Coble, Fictional Breach, Transflag, Highly Gwendolyn Metzger, Transflag, Starfish at Large, Idramian, Ella, Vanellian. BJ Mashed Potato says to make sure you drink enough water and take care of yourself. Shadowfox0002, Johnny Von Tungol. CK the Penguin supports Miss Champ and states that trans rights are human rights. Eden Osp, the half-dragon, half-witch with half a mind to half-ass half of this name. Penny Collector 1, Stop Sign EX, Corporal High, Detective Geo. Zytra, who is going to make the name changes into a consistent bit but forgot to. Ariane Signalis is the Elster Signalis fan club and challenges you to play Signalis without pointing at any of the characters in. Cassie, Raccoona, Shadowfire 638. Quagsire is the best Pokemon. This is not a patron name, this is me, GamerChamp3000, genuinely stating the truth. Ossoman9001 is oh god, no, not more damageless Pokemon! All of the names on the right side of GameChamp's screen. Eris, Harmonious Nature, Georgie Lubinoff. Fake Tokafan, Jetstream Jackie wants you to know that her cat Goggles is both fluffy and gay. Samoris, the A rank with Yoshi no one can achieve. Bluebee, Through for My Howit, Lurker Below, Saint Lesbian and Silly World, Lodestar, your #1 fan. The Firegill lit by Thundaza, Reed Thin and immune to Blizzara but not Blizzaga, V-Man6785, Gay Bastich, Fujoshi Urinal. They're called Transformers, not Cisformers. Lula Lockhart likes Literation, Psycheclips, Alice, I'm madly in love with you, Bugwife, Very Gucci. Ferris V5 will never stop drinking lattes, as your llama, a dubious little creature, Quack Bunch of Sevens, Jared Bowser, Junma. World's longest game of chess over, let's try checkers, Red A3 to B4. Queen Snew, the dog cat possum girl thing, is very good at gender and very bad at having energay. The other 2,999 game champs in the basement, Abigail Dandelion, Emir Sabella, Goro Akechi of the Justice Arcana, K, Kaio Marsali, Kami-sama, Storm 7, Hank J. Wimbledon working retail, Naughty Neo 13, Fruit Squish, Kaya, your local Transavali who is still casting Fireball, Hoshizora Soul VT, Paper Mario 332 is getting jiggy with it while listening to I Need a Noise by Mr. Sousman, Haley McLean, Benedinba, Women Love Cannons when the gender is trans, Lunar, Nightmare King, Durmax, Firefly is pronounced Firefly and it's clever, okay? Tara Flanagan Walker, All the Bugs Yuki has killed, Fumitz Mew, Theta 927, Patrick Farrow, Chas Hackman, Triangle and Drusy, Han Ackles, Maxi 89C, Derp Haven, Molly Penelope III, the world's biggest lesbian, hopes you have a Yuri-ful day. Bacon the Tired, insert expletive of choice. Emerald, 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 Emerald M. I bet you can't guess where I got the name Zenith, Rue, Orin does things. Remember to love your pets, miss you Muffy and Shanae, Not Anon 42, Super Wumpa 22, Fern says hi Baku, Baku Bread of Bread fame, The Thetheride, Albino the Infernape is a trans cat girl, Cosmic Karma, Axie the Axolotl whose gender was stolen while platonically making out with Queen Snoo the dog cat possum girl thing who is very good, Asphalt, and Space Cat Alien Bin 2553, the space located cat-shaped alien wearing a bin space suit for stupid reasons who likes the number 2553. Let me know how much this video sucks and how to improve in the comments below. Mock me for my incredible inability to get this video done by its deadline in December and get out of my house.